Hi, welcome to Disruption Digest, the podcast to explore the weird, the wonderful world of AI in plain English. I'm your host, Jamie Hugh. With me, as always, is my co-host, Jarrett Miller. How's it going, Jarrett?
Going great. Excited to be back, especially to have our two guests on today.
To your point, we have two special guests today, Erik Olsson, Stuart Ridout. Guys, welcome to the show. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you for having us. My name's Stuart Ridout. I work as part of our Modern Work AI incubation team within customer success. We get to try out cool things to do with AI and just helping out our customers on their AI journey.
And I'm Erik. I have the pleasure of working with Stuart almost every single hour. That's what it feels like right now. So we're in the same team in Modern Work in the customer success unit. And I'm based in Sweden. Stuart is in the UK, so we have a nice international partnership going on. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Fantastic. And both of you obviously working for Microsoft along with Jarrett and myself. Just wanted to be clear on that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So let's start into JobsGPT. So basically what we've done, chaps, is built a custom GPT called JobsGPT. And all it does is respond to any question as if it were Steve Jobs, right? So every guest that goes on the show gets to ask one question to this custom GPT. Do you have a question in mind?
One question. Okay. If you were the President of the United States, what would be the first thing you would change? Yeah,
First thing.
Go for that. The first thing.
Change.
Ooh. All right, getting political.
Political there, but go, yeah. Give it a go.
This is the first actual possible tester of the Jobs bot. Everything else has been pretty lighthearted.
Ooh. I know, it's true. All right, I've got a great answer here, folks. So it says the following. First, I would hold an executive meeting to replace all government tech with the latest Apple products. Imagine Congress using iPads to vote. Next, I'll introduce the iLaw initiative, where every new law must pass a usability test. Only the most user-friendly legislation makes the cut. And finally, I will redesign the Oval Office because, let's face it, it really could use a minimalistic makeover. So what do you think of that answer?
Nice. Do you know, we could all do with the more user-friendly laws. That none of these complicated ones. That's not a US thing. That's everywhere.
They could complicate a user-friendly law, no problem, real fast.
It's very true. All right, folks. Well, let's get into today's actual episode. So what we're going to talk about today is very interesting. It's about prompting and prompt libraries, and specifically about a product that the both of you have developed and is really taken off called PromptBuddy. So with that being said, Erik, can you kind of walk me through a little bit about prompting? Because this is something that we all do with AI. What is prompting? And why is prompting such a big deal, do you think?
Yeah, so I think you said it, Jamie. It's something that we all do. I would even go as far as saying it's something that we all try to do. Given, these new tools, the GPTs and all the AI chat windows where we're engaging with the AI, we need to find a way of perfecting our skills so that the AI understands us better, quicker, and provides us with the output that we're looking for. So prompt is just a way of saying instructions or talking or chatting with an AI, giving clear instructions. It's like when I try to, convey my point of view to Stuart, I have to be clear and concise. Otherwise, we have a big issue, right? So I'm working on that. And the same way, I have to work on how I'm clear and concise to any AI service that I use. So that's my, just explanation of prompting for people who are listening who might not be, familiar with that term. But the second thing is everybody's trying to get better at prompting, right? Or providing instructions to AI. So there are two roads you can go. One is you try to learn all the rules. There's a lot of tips and tricks out there. You try to understand how the large language model of the AI that you're using, how it works, how it handles different instructions. okay, I'm starting to lose some people, right? That's a whole lot of work. We want AI to work for us, right? So with PromptBuddy, you get to share and discover internal prompts that your colleagues have created for you. So we have super skilled colleagues internally. We also share a few of our best prompts when you get PromptBuddy, and you can build from there. So without any experience whatsoever, you start by reusing someone's prompt or starting point, and that's just the best way to learn. We're finding so many users are super excited to pick up on, let's say Jarrett Miller had a really good prompt he was super proud about. If I'm able to go in and try that and maybe make a quick edit for myself, boom, I'm flying before I have to learn all these rules.
Stuart, whenever we're talking about these prompts, can you set the stage for what exactly it is that we're talking about with a prompt? So what's an example of a prompt that you've created, and why it's important to send that out to your colleagues to use as a starting point instead of just, I imagine somebody going in there, hey, write me an email to respond to this customer.
I think it's because we're all on this prompt journey, as Erik said. So we start off, and our initial prompts are things like, "Hey, I need to write an email to this customer saying, when are you going to buy the product or whatever." And then you find out that your colleague has got a great prompt where they're saying, "Look at the latest sales data," or "Look at this predictor, this pipeline spreadsheet," or go off and analyze what the markets are doing right now, and then write an email to the customer saying why they should buy this product right now, and then in that tell them that this is what they'll lose out if they don't buy it. This is why it's important right now, and things like that. And you go, "Oh wow, your output was so much better than mine that just said, hey, you need to buy this product now." But we're also busy. We're kind of working, and especially lots of roles do work very individually, because we've all got our own accounts, that we're only working with on a one-to-one basis. So you see other people, you might see the output, you might see the email that somebody's done, but actually you're not seeing what goes into it. So I think that's why it's so valuable, especially to have internal prompts, because, we share, as Microsoft, to customers, we share great prompts all the time, but we keep it quite generic. So it's harder for customers to kind of maybe take that next step to get to like more business value, because we're either sharing generic prompts or because we're looking at a consumer and a business model. So some of our prompts are things like, "Hey, generate a party invitation for my daughter's 8th birthday," and things like this. So you get more value when it's in your domain, from your from your people, your knowledge, all of that. So that's, I think, why it's really valuable.
It's interesting that you raised this, Stuart, because one of the things I found is when people first use AI, they're not very good at prompting, naturally, because it's new. And one of the things they'll do is they'll try it out, and because it's generic, they'll say, "Hey, this AI stuff sucks. It's not very good." Whilst the reality is, maybe if they had a better idea of how to use it and what the best practices are in terms of engaging with AI, i.e. prompting, then the end result is a little bit better. I don't know if you agree with that.
100% agree with you on that. Like when we talk to customers, especially ones who are in that kind of early phase of using Copilot, or even internally when we talk to our own people, you kind of go, "Oh, how you get on with Copilot? You're really excited and you're buzzing about it, and like, yeah, oh, isn't it brilliant? It's the best thing." And they're like, yeah. And then, but then when you say to them, "Oh, but did you do it like this, or did you include these elements?" That's when they go, "Oh, I see. Now I can understand the tool better."
All right, Erik. Well, you mentioned a little bit about PromptBuddy. That sounds like it solved this problem. Walk us through what it is and a bit more details about it, if you can.
All right. So I'm a visual learner, so let me share my screen and let's look at it together. I want to say, just to manage expectations, that we'll be looking at the internal Microsoft version, which is live. We do updates all the time. We just released a feature today that I don't think you or Jarrett has seen yet. So let's have a look. However, if you're not at Microsoft and you're looking at this and you're going, "Hey, where's that button?" Or why did it work that way? We are trying to ship features to both versions, but we test things internally first, so it might just be a little bit different. All right, so let me show my screen to you guys, and we'll have a look at PromptBuddy. So if I'm in Teams, again, this could look a little bit different. I'm going to look at it from within Teams. First off, I want to ask you guys, not Stuart, do you see anything different from yesterday, just on the main page?
My likes and our picks, is that new?
Ooh, look at that. So we released this today, one of our absolute biggest requests. It is the possibility to like a prompt. You see that the prompts have different votes, right? So if you like a prompt, it gets a vote, so quality rises to the top over time. Now, if you like something, you'll be able to find it again. So if you find a cool prompt and you like it, chances are you want to use it again. So this is one of the biggest things that we're encountering, that people find good prompts, one on LinkedIn, another one from an Excel sheet. Hopefully they have PromptBuddy, and then they have everything there, but you want your favorites quickly. So if you like something, it ends up under My Likes, and you can find everything that you've liked in PromptBuddy. So, Sarah, someone who works at Microsoft with internal communications, she sent a nice prompt for doing some internal comms, which Stuart and I have to do a lot of these days. So I just liked this. I gave it a like, and then automatically it is, this is very new. You can see from a few days ago. Automatically it goes into my likes. So I know that I can always find that prompt again. Might not seem huge. This is a big deal. People forget prompts all the time, and it's the worst.
Are these prompts a mix of prompts that have been created internally for, say, your group or your company, with a mix of more open source prompts that are generally available to everybody that has downloaded the PromptBuddy app?
Great question. So I think, Stuart, we're shipping PromptBuddy with some of the most popular prompts that we're providing as a starting point. I think we have about 30 or so prompts now that we ship PromptBuddy with.
Yeah, so when you ship it, you get a base set of prompts so that you've got something to be starting on with. But once it's in your environment, it is completely private to you. So we don't send any more prompts in, and your prompts don't go outside, because, ultimately, and this is a really interesting kind of, from a disruption point of view, is like, is copyright on prompts, and who owns prompts, and all, what's the what's the intellectual property on prompts. But once it's in your environment, that is completely within your control, and nobody else can see in. We can't send you more prompts, and yours don't come out. So I think that's just important to share from a privacy point of view.
Yeah, a quick answer would be that some of these, a few popular ones, are actually in PromptBuddy. The bulk of these prompts are Microsoft internal and shared in our version. So, and that's the real value. Even though Stuart and I think that we provide really amazing prompts as a starting point, the real value is when it's specific to your organization, when it's specific to the roles that you have, the different departments you have. You can see that, we have these Copilot categories that are Microsoft apps. If you have other apps internally, if you're using your own AI apps or other AI services, you can just add them. If you have other departments, you can see that this is clearly Microsoft internal. Nobody knows what MCAPS is in another organization. Perhaps it's an internal organization or department that we have internally. So this is up for you to change. You are most likely to work within one industry, perhaps. At Microsoft, we work across all industries, or we have 14 major ones that we are very specific about. So it just depends on how you want to set this up. What we're looking at is the internal Microsoft version. So I'm sure that most organizations do not have CXPMs. It might not mean anything for someone who doesn't have that role, but for us internally, it means the world of difference because it makes it role relevant, right? So these guys have their own prompts here for their role specifically.
I think one of the questions that people quite often ask us is, how do we differentiate between this and maybe something like Copilot Labs that you get if you get Copilot for M365? And the difference here is that you can add other AI services on here. So, when we go to the app one internally, we've added on Azure Copilot, Copilot for sales, Copilot for security. But if you've created your own, let's say your JobsGPT, the best prompts to ask JobsGPT, you could add JobsGPT as a category, and then people could kind of say what prompts they've used there, and be able to share the knowledge there. So it's kind of a much wider tool.
So do you guys want to see how we could add JobsGPT into PromptBuddy, the live version right now?
Yeah, sure.
See
All
if we
right,
can't
let me
start
show you
upping the
how it's done.
JobsGPT use cases.
Exactly. So I'm now in the PromptBuddy manager, or the admin side of things, where you as an admin can actually change things without a single line of code, right? So you have all the different prompt categories here. So we were looking at apps, right? So you have all of them here. Let's say that we wanted to add JobsGPT as a custom app. I, as a manager, would go in, add a category. I would pick a name. So JobsGPT, and answers anything like Steve Jobs. And then we would put it in the app category. You can see that we have multiple choices here, but let's put it in the app category. I didn't prepare a visual for this, so I'm just going to shoot something in, whatever. So I just go here. You can see we have some stock images included with the app, but obviously most of the time you want to add your own picture. We also have a prompt, by the way, I should say that. Included with PromptBuddy, we have a prompt for actually adding new visuals in the same style that we ship with PromptBuddy. So when you get it, you can do whatever prompts you like. So let's just use just a quick picture here that I just happen to have. And then boom, add this category. It is now live for everyone internally to use. So if I go back to PromptBuddy, under apps, you can see that the JobsGPT was just born. So here you go. You can add your prompts. Stuart's prompt about what Steve Jobs would change if he became the president of America. That goes in there. You can see people start liking it, and yeah, that's how we build engagement in specific apps. So let me show you how you delete a category if you do that, because we don't all have access to JobsGPT yet internally. So I would go back into my manager experience. I would look at the app category and I'll say, you know what? We're not quite ready to launch this category. And I would just go in, and you can see that I can edit here. Even as a manager, I'm able to add prompts as well. So I'll just edit this and we'll delete it for now. And then poof, just disappeared for all the thousands and thousands and thousands of users that we have internally with PromptBuddy.
We talked earlier about it being somewhat difficult to get started on using AI, and it's not exactly the most intuitive thing to most of us out there. So how do I best get trained up on even how to create these prompts and create good prompts that will create outputs for me, or great outputs for me?
So I think if you look certainly from a Microsoft perspective, and obviously there's a whole load of guides, there's things on LinkedIn, there's obviously lots of resources on YouTube and places like that. But for our take on the world, in our own adoption site, so if you go to adoption.microsoft.com/copilot, there's loads of great resources there. And it's about halfway down the page, there's something which says ingredients of the prompt. And we talk about a 4-part prompt guidance. So we talk about goals. So what are you trying to achieve out of your prompt? Context, like why, what's the background to this? Source, so where is there any useful information? And then expectations, so what should good look like? So an example, when I'm talking to people, we say, let's say you wanted to create a job description for a project manager. So let's say the problem is that you need a project manager a senior project manager who's going to help launch a new tablet device, something along those lines. And we say, right, okay, create that. And somebody goes into Word and they go, create me a job description for a senior project manager. And then they get the output back and it's meh, it's okay. But actually, if they said, right, okay, what's the goal? So, I'm looking to hire a new senior project manager who's going to be heading up my product launch of a new tablet device for consumers. So I've given it the goal, I've given it the context, okay, and then I want you to create this job description, use industry standards for senior project managers, or you could reference off to maybe like a company standards guide or something like this for that, and then make sure you include the job description, the experience needed, past experience, 10 years of kind of experience in this, and by adding all of those parts there, then it's a much more rounded prompt, and you get the better results first time. And then you could say things like, make sure this is 1 page or 2 pages. And then even to take it up another level is we talk about adding personas. So, you are a tech recruiter who's been working in tech recruitment for the last 20 years. Write a job description, blah, 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 blah. And that helps to kind of ground that prompt and get a lot more information to get a better result.
Erik, how do you get PromptBuddy? So if I wanted to use it, if I'm outside Microsoft, where do I need to go to install this?
That's super easy. So you go to aka.ms/GetPromptBuddy. That's all you need to know. It's a one-stop shop. We have a beautiful how to install and demo video, which takes you a couple of minutes. This is different. You're not creating a new universe here. You're importing something and you're good to go within minutes. So that's all I'm going to say about how to get PromptBuddy externally. I did want to show something based on the masterclass we just got from Stuart on how to think about, personas and prompting. Check this out. So if you listen to that and you're really trying to elevate your prompt game, good for you. If you're like 93% of our users who just wants to go in, grab something amazing and just go, this is what you do. So let me share my screen quickly, and I'll just show you what we do internally at Microsoft to get things up and running super quickly. All right, so back into PromptBuddy, right? Boom, I'm in. And look at the top here. There's a reason why this is the most popular prompt internally. It says one prompt to rule them all. Let me click on it. Here we go. And whether or not you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, doesn't matter. It will help you improve your prompt skills. So this is all you need to do. It is designed to refine and elevate your prompts. Regardless of your level, regardless how you start, you can have a 3-word prompt. It will help you get better. So if we look at some of the reactions, from it internally, we have comments in the internal one. We don't have that in the public one yet, but things like this, just seeing stuff really work and be really helpful, and also a couple of Lord of the Rings jokes in there. People are quite funny and happy when they find something like this. This is what you do. You just go to one prompt to rule them all. It's included with PromptBuddy. You copy the prompt and you paste it in Copilot, for example. So let's just use it quickly. Do you guys have a beginner prompt for me that I can use with one prompt to rule them all?
Why don't we stick with write me a job description for a project manager?
All right. So write me a job. I'm standing up, so I might look a little weird on camera. Hope that's okay. Write me a job description for a project manager. This is a terrible prompt. Don't worry about the misspelling. This is a terrible prompt. It's super non-specific, right? I misspelled. What kind of project manager? Like, are you kidding me? Nobody could create a good output from that. However, we're using one prompt to rule them all. So already we get a revised prompt, right? Create a job description for a project manager role that outlines the responsibilities, required skills, and qualifications. Sorry, required skills and qualifications. And then we get questions to things that you might not have thought about. What industry should it be for? any particular requirements, years of experience, educational background, all of this stuff, and you can just input whatever you can. Let's say it's for a hospital, 5 years experience, must speak Korean. Let's say, look at that, misspellings again, don't worry about it. That's the power of AI. We don't need to worry about that. So here we go. We have a revised prompt again, and I can continue this until I'm happy. When I'm happy, I take my revised prompt that we just got from One Prompt to Rule Them All, and I use it with Copilot to generate a much, much better output than I could have possibly done with that super basic start, right? So
this is an incredible
I'd say
prompt. This is an incredible prompt because one of the things that it's essentially teaching you how to create better prompts, and that's something that people don't quite understand, that they need to know how to get better at doing in order to improve the outputs. As we spoke earlier, a lot of people just go in, type something super generic, like write me a job description, but they don't understand that when they think about writing their own job description, they're coming in with their own training on how to write job descriptions, their own understanding of what needs to be included there, and that they have that. And so people need to understand what guardrails and what other prompting needs to be given to these bots or to these AI or to the AI in order to create a great output. And so when people get frustrated with the output's not exactly how I would do it or as good as it could be, you just need a little bit of training here on exactly to create a prompt in order to create an excellent output for you. And so this is exactly what that is doing. And I'm really excited about using this.
So that's just one example, and then there's another super popular one for starting your day right. You have 1,000 things to do, and some guy called Stuart apparently has a really good prompt for Copilot, Microsoft 365 in this case, and then this is super popular to just start trying it out, and then you can have different choices and discussions on how to make it even more better for you. But these types of prompts are super helpful, right? So again, if you have PromptBuddy, use someone's great prompt as your starting point. You don't need to get a PhD in prompting before you even start, right?
This is incredible. I've got a question for the both of you, I suppose. I see that the logo is a koala. What's the history behind that?
We actually get asked this quite a lot, Stuart, don't we?
Yeah.
So we like this friendly little intro to prompt sharing. Stuart and I, we were joking around. We were trying different things. Stuart, what were some of the names before we landed on PromptBuddy? Because that leads to the koala.
Yeah, so we ended up with. So we were kind of working through the ideas. We were actually trying to use kind of AI to help us with the ideas. They were really boring, corporate, generic ones like Promptify and Promptly and Prompt Lab and things like this. And we're like, no, it's not friendly enough. We want to break down. We want the. So I think we then came to PromptBuddy, and then Erik kind of went away and worked his magic to kind of go, what would a PromptBuddy look like? And again, we had lots of different ideas about what those prompts look like, but it ended up being the koala. He's kind of got the rainbow in there from the Copilot logo as well. He didn't look like this originally, or I don't know if he even is a he, but he didn't look like this originally. It had more of an outline first, and then it's kind of gone into this origami style, which we've now pulled into all of our thumbnails for categories and things like this. So we're settled in on the on this origami style. But yeah, he's your prompt buddy. He's friendly and fun.
All right, guys. Well, let me ask you one final question. Where do you think the future of this is going to go in terms of prompting or PromptBuddy in general?
I mean, we do have a roadmap, right? People are always asking us about the next thing, even though we've delivered. I mean, just today you have bookmarks and saving a prompt, which is really difficult in any GPT you're using. It's not super easy, right? That just shipped today. But looking forward, I think Stuart and I, one of the big things, we're not going to disclose everything. I mean, you need to come back for another episode and have us back on. So language is
sure.
going to be huge. Language localization. We're almost ready to drop new languages for Microsoft Copilot in the world, right? Not everyone has their local language supported by Copilot for Microsoft 365 today. It's happening very soon. So if you look at the top right, you have a sneak peek. Again, this is our internal version, but we will be able to cater to the UI, adapting to whatever UI you have, and then also the prompts. So if I click French here, you will see only French prompts used and curated and done by Microsoft France without having any of the English ones showing in this interface, yet it's still the same app. So language localization is going to be huge for us. And we have so many requests coming in. We're working on it, but yeah, stay tuned for that.
Wow, this has been phenomenal. I mean, it's a really interesting insights to the sort of innovation that's happening into the AI space, Jarrett, I feel, and it's just a great way to think about how do we get better at using AI. Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you guys for coming along. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. So another great discussion. Really appreciate the sort of detailed discussion into how do we get better prompting, showing us PromptBuddy. Thank you so much for coming onto the show, guys.
Thank you for having us.